Two fallen giants, one cold night, and a ladder position that tells you everything about what this season has become for both of these sides. Carlton versus Melbourne, a fixture that we would have thought usually would scream finals, but both sitting 6 and 11, both trying to convince themselves there's something left to salvage. The Demons, it's a horror losing run. Carlton, they look broken, and history says they can play well against Melbourne. It's a big, compelling game. Finals gone, pride, rivalry, pressure on the coaches, all still in play. Anything could happen. Let's be real, both clubs have had a season that probably resembles a malfunctioning vending machine. Lots of shaking, swiping, hope, and nothing is coming out. Melbourne started 5-5 and since fell off a cliff. A side that was once defined by its defensive structure has become brittle. A side that boasted a top-end midfield is now getting beaten in and around the coalface. And last week's revenge mission against North, it wasn't the most impressive win until late. Carlton, on the other hand, well, it isn't just a fall from grace, it is an absolute collapse. From a team that was billed as a top 4 chance, they have gone 6 and 11, searching for meaning. Their loss to Brisbane last week was another disheartening loss. Skills, errors, fade-outs, and a severe lack of identity causing Wheatering to come out and say that they're looking to find what they stand for. But here's the spanner. Carlton's last 3 games versus Melbourne, thrillers, winners. And the Demons, for all their structure, have never looked comfy when playing against the Blues. 2 teams staring in the abyss. This becomes less about finals and more about futures. Who's invested? Who's playing for 2026? And who stuck in 1993? Let's look at Carlton's 2025 season statistically. And it's ordering a steak and getting just parsley. You can see what they're trying to do, but the execution is miles off it. Let's start with the most common part, contested possessions, the number 1 side in the league. Top dog, they win the hard ball. Clearance differential, 5th. Inside 50, 5th. Intercepts, 5th. Time in forward half, 9th. All signs point to a team that wins territory and wins the arm wrestle. But it turns to mush. Points for, 15. Shots per inside 50 and scoring efficiency, 17th. What does that mean? Carlton work incredibly hard to get it forward and then butcher it like they've never seen a footy before. They're moving the ball without purpose. 54.3 entries, but they don't turn them into scores. Decent defensively, 10th, middle of the road. And they do the little things, 2nd for tackles inside 50, 9th for marks. So it's not all doom and gloom. But the metrics that say you produce, negative 4.2 on turnover differential, show you they don't do anything. They kick more than they handball, 5th in the league. So it's not an over-handballing issue. It's a forward structure, decision-making, and execution issue. The bottom line is Carlton win the ball. They don't do anything with it. It's possession for possession's sake. Melbourne, let's have a look at them. Their profile is a mirror image. It's not quite broken, but it's cracked. First thing to note, they're actually slightly better at scoring, sitting 10th for points for versus Carlton's 15th. Defensively, though, they've fallen off a cliff, ranked 13th for points against, a big drop from a team that prides itself on its rock-solid backline structure. But when you look closer, you'll see the bones of a decent system. Contested possessions, 2nd. Clearance, 9th. Inside 50 differential, 8th. They compete at the source, they win the territory battle, and they can get it forward. Their shot per inside 50 is ranked 5th. Scoring efficiency, 6th. That's a stark contrast to Carlton, who are bottom 2 of both categories. But what does it mean? Melbourne might enter 50 less often, but they do it with a little bit more gusto. Their forward line is lacking severe elite talent. It's just more functional. They're 14th for marks inside 50, Carlton are 9th, but they convert better. They sit middle of the pack in tackles, 5th, and intercepts. And they actually control forward territory better, 51.4% versus 50.8%. Uncontested possessions, 6th. There's a sign of patience and control. And they're slightly more balanced by hand and foot, 58.2%, 9th. So while they've lost structure at times and been inconsistent, the numbers show they are clearly capable of hurting you, particularly when they're cleaner with their ball use and go hunting you. Now let's look at the stat comparison. Contested possessions in clearance battles, this is neck and neck. First versus fifth, second versus ninth. Territory battles, both good. Carlton 5th for inside 50s, Melbourne 8th. But the Demons far more effective, a massive gap. 5th and 6th in score shots per inside 50 in efficiency versus 17th for both. And both are average defensively, worse for points conceded at Melbourne. But ball movement, they smooth that outside for 6th, where Carlton are a little bit more direct with a higher kicking ratio. Both tackles are pretty good. So in a nutshell, Carlton bash you around the ball, win field possession, then fall apart. Melbourne aren't much different, but they are slightly slicker. And this probably comes down to their better ball users. The going inside 50 will be a massive difference between two sides. Now let's look at recently. The form, or lack thereof for Carlton. The last 5 games haven't just been losses, they have been statistical regressions across the board. Points for, ranked 15th, 8 points worse than they have been throughout the season. Points against, now 14th, 10 points more. So they're scoring less and leaking more. The worst possible combination in sport. The engine room drops from 11.4 contested to 9th, still 3rd, but it is a slide. Clearance differential pretty steady. It ranks around 5th, but then it gets grim. Inside 50s now, massive fall off, 7 less entries per game. That is weird, and bizarrely, the shot efficiency has gone improved, but they're still 13th and 14th respectively. One standout though, without Harry, marks inside 50 is up, ranked 3rd, 5 percentile increase. So there is at least some better targets, but defensive metrics are shocking. Tackles right down to 8.6, 17th. Intercepts down to 62, ranked 12th. And the time inside forward half dropped to 13th. So not only are they getting there less, they're holding it there less. Even structurally, uncontested possessions are steady, but it drops the kick-handball ratio. And where we're meant to see territory and more increase in attacking numbers, it's actually recessed. Carlton's contested game hangs on, but its ability to trap the ball, transition, apply forward pressure has disintegrated. The forwards aren't working hard enough and the midfield is not feeding it. Melbourne is a bit more confusing. The wins haven't come, but the numbers suggest they are working on something. Points per game up, that's an improvement of 3.3. Still ranks 11th, but points against slightly better. Still 13th, but trending in the right direction. The eye-opener, plus 15.6 contested differential. The best over the last 5 weeks. The elite clearance differential steady at 0.6. Nothing flashy, but holding up. They've dropped slightly in inside 50s and inside 50s for now, 10th and 13th respectively. But they're not getting forward as much as they do. But when they do, they're dangerous. 3rd best shot generation outside 50. 2nd best efficiency. This is clinical. They may not flood forward, but they are converting. Marks inside 50 up to slightly 10th. Tackles inside 50 has come down. A big drop-off in forward pressure and intercepts down a touch, 63.2. Structurally, they are some worrying signs though. The forward half is down now 12th and uncontested possessions has plummeted to 12th, a drop of 11 touches per game. The ratio of kicking handball shows they might be a little bit reactive under the heat, but midfield is dominating the contest, the outside control, and the forward half has taken a hit. But unlike Carlton, they have actually become more dangerous. They're executing better with limited supply, showcasing a purpose behind every touch. Now let's look at the form line. Let's compare. The last 5 categories, edge contested possession. That's in Melbourne's favour, 15.6 versus 9. Clearance, Carlton, 3.6 versus 0.6. Even in inside 50 differential, the shot score efficiency, massive in Melbourne's favour. Melbourne really are the strong team, and defence is leaking more in transition, particularly Carlton. The uncontested ball is in Carlton's favour, but you can see Carlton holding ground and regressing in the metrics. So what we've got is 2 teams struggling. Melbourne have polish, Carlton have fight, clearance strength, don't do anything with it. It's like a midfield arm wrestle here, where 2 teams have got to use the ball better, and one can do it under limited chances. So how will this game be won? This isn't about stars. It's not about Cripps versus Petrarca, Wheaterin versus Fritsch. This one will be won and lost in structural trenches. The nuts and bolts of how each side sets up behind the ball, moves it through the midfield, and more importantly, connects with the forward line. Let's look at that midfield structure. Both teams are top-tier contested winning sides. First and second in contested possession differential. That means the centre-bound stoppage will be a war zone. But here's the catch. Melbourne are a better structure in post-clearance side. They don't just win the fight, they spread, change the angles, and more importantly, cut yours off. And when they get outside, they make better decisions. Carlton, chaotic, bash, crash, surge, prey. This leads to turnovers, especially when they're under pressure, and Melbourne are feasting on bad ball use. So if Carlton can't clean up their exits and hit targets, post-clearance, Melbourne will hurt them badly on the rebound like other sides have done. Defensive structure without the ball. This might be the most fascinating area. Carlton have slowly gone back into an almost 2022, trying to compress the ground, set up high behind the ball, keep territory, and on paper it works. They're 9th for forward half-time, 5th for intercepts, but teams have worked it out, spread wide, shift the angles. Carlton zones will start to panic under duress, and when they lose control of the forward half, badly exposed on turnover. Melbourne, on the other hand, used to be the benchmark behind the ball. High halfbacks, zoning intercept kings, but in 2025 this structure has broken. They've been given easier looks. Their points against is 13th, but they still intercept well. But they aren't defending the arc like they used to. Both sides will be looking to reclaim that. Whichever team settles behind the ball better will control this game. And then forward structure, clean versus clunky. Carlton are one of the worst forwards to half teams in the AFL. 15th for points for, 17th for looks at goal, scoring efficiency. The ball movement at times is too slow, too without purpose. Connection incredibly poor, and the lack of hit-up options mean it's not craft, it's chaos. Melbourne aren't exactly humming. They're 5th in shots and 6th for efficiency. 3rd for both in the last 5 weeks. They get fewer entries, but they are maximising it. That's a sign that has shape, leading patterns, and discipline. Carlton's best chance, move the ball quicker, quick strikes. Shown glimpses of dangerous ball movement when they hit the corridor, and particularly defending turnover when they are here. Without Charlie and Harry as a combination, Carlton have to make this right, because if Melbourne set up behind the ball, game over. And then Melbourne's system is battered, but still recognisable. Carlton's is fractured. If this team turns into a turnover fest, the Blues have a shot if they can get it contested. Melbourne will have better shape and set up behind the ball, and hopefully will have composure. If they do that, Carlton are a sitting duck. Let's look at the teams. Carlton, there's no such thing as a good timing for a hamstring, but Carlton copped a double whammy. Fantasia is out, who has been used on the wing, which means Carlton lose a little bit of use there. It's like a career check's got checked the engine. It's permanently flashing with Arizio and his mate Mitch McGovern too. And that is a swingman's blow, because he's been one of the linking defenders, but also one of the forward defenders. Adam Cherra was let off with his umpire contact case with a mammoth fine. But there is good news. Adam Sard looks set to put his hand up with concussion. Jack Silvani, Harry Mackay still being missed, and so is Sam Walsh. From the twos, Francis Evans again put his name in the lights, looking very solid. But they have been there, and they know it doesn't work. One that might be of interest is Billy Wilson, played in and around the midfield, did have times on the wing. He was lively with his game. Blake Acres was very mediocre in the VFL, and I feel like he needs a solid game to get there. There is some players, though, that you may be wondering. Lockie Fogarty hasn't exactly set the world alight. Corey Durden could be under the pump. And based on history, Carlton will drop a young kid. Voss might need to change something to get this vibe working. For Melbourne, they finally had some joy this week without minimum changes. Stephen May, he having an illness at the start of the week, he's meant to be good. And Tom McDonald, potentially, he showed something last week. It looks like they're going to combine them. Tom Sparrow is out with concussion. Harrison Petty is out. But from Casey this week, Jack Billings was incredible. So was Blake Halls. Both of them look like they've got a chance to return. Harry Sharp kicked 2 and had 6 and was very lively. I don't think you'll see a massive change, but players were quiet last week. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Billings or Halls come in, just basically to try and add a little bit of experience. Structurally, Carlton lose a key cog without Harry in Mitch McGovern and a small forward, which shouldn't matter because Carlton have overbeen playing them. Melbourne, they get their general back in Stephen May, but Carlton is under pressure here, especially with no Harry. They can't buy a crumb from that small forward line. This isn't a blockbuster. This isn't a final, but don't underestimate how important it is for both teams. For Melbourne, this is about pride. They have actively said they're changing their system, and they are starting to work on their cracks. Carlton, this is impressive, really, to be talking about this. They're in an identity crisis, a form slump, and we've seen this before and again. Carlton really have to strip it back, go back to boots, studs, players, coaches, fans, and have something to work for in 2026. No September, but there is chance to show growth and fight and really build on 2026. You can't do that without wins like this game. If you're watching the game, take note of the little things, the structure, the effort. Who wants to be part of the future in 2026? Let me know in the comments your prediction. I want to see what you think of both clubs. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, please do me a solid. Hit the like button, subscribe for more deep dives, some Pommy rants, and everything. I can't wait to see how this game ends out. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Pommy out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.